Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at a really vital role in finance, the portfolio manager, but from a slightly different angle.
Yeah, instead of hearing from a PM directly, we've got something maybe even more revealing.
Exactly. We're digging into the kinds of interview questions they face.
Yeah.
The real tough ones they get asked when going for these high-stakes jobs.
It's like reverse engineering the job, right? By looking at the questions, we figure out what skills and, well, what thinking really
That's
counts.
the idea. It's kind of a blueprint for what makes a good portfolio manager. So our mission today,
To pull out those core insights, we're looking at everything, situational questions, soft skills, the nitty-gritty role-specific stuff, even those STAR method questions.
should give us a pretty well-rounded picture, I think.
Definitely. It shows what companies are really looking for.
Okay, let's dive in. Situational questions first. These really throw you into the deep end.
Oh, absolutely. They test how you think on your feet.
So imagine this scenario. You're running a big portfolio, everything seems fine, and then boom, one of your major holdings, a company you've bet big on, announces really weak quarterly earnings. Way worse than expected.
Right. So what do? What's the first thought?
And what are they really trying to find out with a question like that? It's not just about whether you panic, is it?
Not at all. They want to see your analytical process under fire. It's about how you assess unexpected, often negative information.
So less gut reaction, more structured thinking.
Exactly. Do you immediately think, sell? Or do you pause? Do you try to figure out why the earnings were weak?
Makes sense. Is it just this company having a bad quarter?
Or is it something bigger? A problem in the whole sector? Or maybe even a sign the wider economy's slowing down?
That's the crucial distinction.
It really is. A good PM doesn't just react, they diagnose. They want to understand the root cause and figure out the ripple effects, not just on that one stock, but maybe others too.
Yeah, see the bigger picture. And the source material we looked at has more examples like this, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, there's a whole theme of dealing with the unexpected.
Like a cyber attack hitting a tech company you own.
Or a pharma company suddenly getting slapped with a huge lawsuit.
Political chaos erupting in an emerging market where you've invested.
Even things like finding out a company in your portfolio might be involved in some unethical stuff.
It all points to needing a solid framework, right? A plan for when things go sideways.
Definitely. It really underscores that portfolio management isn't just about picking winners when everything's calm. It's about constant monitoring and being ready to adapt.
Adapting when the facts change, basically.
Precisely. These questions test if you can step back, avoid the emotional response, and strategically reevaluate. Is the original reason you invested still valid? Or has this new event changed the game fundamentally?
That's the key question they want to see you tackle.
Yeah. Analyze the new info, assess the impact, then decide. Hold. Sell some. Get out completely.
Right, a considered decision. Okay, let's shift gears a little. It might seem less about the numbers, but soft skills come up a lot too.
Oh, hugely important. Often underestimated, I think.
The interview questions touch on things like communication, leadership, adaptability, even managing difficult stakeholders.
And balancing deadlines with doing quality work.
So why are these so critical? You might picture a PM just staring at screens all day.
Yeah, the stereotype. But it's often very collaborative and frequently client-facing.
Ah, okay. So you need to talk to people.
Absolutely. Imagine trying to explain a really complex investment strategy or maybe why the portfolio dipped last quarter to a client who's understandably nervous.
Yeah, that takes skill. Clear communication builds trust, right?
Totally vital, especially when things aren't going perfectly and within the team. You often need to lead discussions, persuade colleagues, get buy-in on tough decisions. That's leadership.
I can see that. And adaptability seems like a given in markets that change so fast.
It's non-negotiable. You have to be ready to adjust your strategy based on new information. It's not just reacting, it's sort of anticipating shifts too.
Being proactive.
Exactly. And dealing with difficult stakeholders. That could be nervous clients, maybe internal disagreements.
You need to navigate those tricky conversations constructively.
You do. It's about keeping things on track even when there's tension. And that balancing act, market urgency versus deep analysis, that shows you're organized and committed to making good decisions, not just fast ones.
Okay, so it's definitely a people-person job too, in many ways.
More than you might think.
Right. Let's get to the core stuff now. The role-specific expertise. The bread and butter of managing investments.
This is where they dig into your fundamental knowledge.
We see questions about portfolio diversification strategies,
Yeah.
how you evaluate financial reports.
Describing difficult investment decisions you've actually made in the past.
Your knowledge of risk management techniques
Yeah.
and how you stay up to date with everything happening in the markets. This is the real technical skill assessment.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
They need to know you understand the foundations. Like diversification, it's not just owning a random mix of stuff, is it?
No, there has to be a strategy behind it.
Exactly. They want to hear your approach. How do you think about allocating assets
Hmm.
across different sectors, geographies? How do you aim to smooth out the ride, reduce volatility without killing potential returns?
And evaluating financial reports. That sounds intense.
It is. They're looking for depth. Can you see beyond the headline numbers? Can you spot trends in revenue, margins, cash flow?
Like reading between the lines.
Sort of,
Yeah.
and digging into the footnotes. That's often where the interesting stuff hides, like maybe inventory's piling up. That could signal future problems.
Ah, okay. So it's detective work, almost.
A bit, yeah. You're looking for clues about the real health of the company.
And that question about a past difficult decision. Wow, that must tell them a lot about your judgment.
Huge amounts. They want the story. What was the situation? What factors did you weigh up? How did you handle conflicting data?
And what was the thinking behind your final call?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And crucially, what did you learn from it? Win or lose?
Learning from mistakes or even successes. And risk management. That's got to be central.
Absolutely fundamental. Do you understand hedging? Downside protection. Stress testing your portfolio against, say, a market crash scenario.
And can you explain how you'd actually use those techniques?
Yeah, practically,
Yeah.
not just textbook definitions. And staying updated, that's about showing you're engaged, curious, a lifelong learner. Markets, regulations, tech, it all changes constantly.
You really have to stay sharp, deeply analytical, and always learning.
That's the combo.
Okay, last section. The STAR method questions. Remind us quickly, STAR is.
Situation, task, action, result. It's a way to get concrete examples of past behavior.
Because past behavior predicts future performance, right?
That's the theory, and it's often pretty accurate. So these STAR prompts target specific competencies they want evidence of.
Like asking about managing a large, diverse portfolio. What does that show?
It lets you demonstrate how organized you are, how you handle complexity, balancing different goals, maybe growth in one part, income in another, how you track it all.
And the one about a challenging investment decision where you had to make a tough call.
That brings those hypothetical situations we talked about into the real world. It's proof. Show me a time you actually did this under pressure.
Okay, so they want specifics.
Definitely. What was the situation? What was your specific task or responsibility? What actions did you take step by step? And what was the measurable result?
Got it. And there are others, like using risk management skills.
Again, not define risk management, but tell me about a time you identified a specific risk, what you did about it, and what happened. Concrete example.
How about restructuring a portfolio because of changing economic conditions?
That shows your adaptability in action, how you respond proactively to big shifts in the landscape. A real-world example is powerful.
And the last one mentioned here, communicating portfolio performance using data.
Ah, yes. This ties the analysis and the soft skills together beautifully.
Because making money is one thing, explaining it is another, especially if you haven't made money recently.
Exactly. So the STAR format asks, tell us about a time you had to present performance, maybe complex data, maybe difficult news to clients or stakeholders. How did you make it clear? How did you handle questions?
What was the outcome for the client relationship?
Precisely. It shows your communication skills under potentially stressful, real-world conditions, crucial for managing those relationships.
Okay, so wrapping this all up,
Right.
this deep dive into interview questions really paints a picture, doesn't it? What are the big takeaways?
Well, it's clear it's a demanding role. You need that blend. Strong analytical skills are table stakes. Obviously, you have to understand investments, markets, risk.
But that's not enough on its own.
No way. You need the judgment to make tough decisions, often fast, often with incomplete information. That's critical. Decision-making under uncertainty.
And then the people side.
Absolutely essential. Communicating clearly complex ideas simply, leading teams, building trust with clients. Those interpersonal skills are just as vital as the analytical ones.
It really is a multifaceted role, much more than just numbers.
Far more.
So a final thought for you, the listener. We've unpacked these core skills: assessing risk, making strategic calls under pressure, communicating effectively. How might those same ideas, those same principles apply in your own life?
Yeah, think about your own portfolio. Maybe it's your career projects, your team, even big personal decisions.
Where could that kind of structured thinking, that risk awareness, that clear communication make a difference for you? Definitely something to chew on.